Last week, I talked a little bit about the research I put in my forced connection projects, where I have to create installation art using data on the topic of photosynthesis. So, in the first week, I did a ton of research and I also ordered some chlorophyll. And one of the ideas I had initially was to set up a laboratory experiment on chlorophyll, find a way of capturing some of the energy and perhaps doing a light show with it. I booked an appointment with the Grow Lab, and it turns out that that was not really possible with our equipment and the setup and so on. And so we changed strategy a little bit, and we decided as a first experiment to extract chlorophyll from three different samples. It was really very interesting as an experience because we took three samples of three separate plants, and in a very systematic and controlled fashion, we extracted the chlorophyll to see if there is color variation, if one plant has more chlorophyll than the other, and so on. And I was getting familiar with the laboratory experiment. It was really fun. But when I came home, I realized that there's not a lot I can do with it. And so I had to rack my brains again. I did come back home after extracting chlorophyll in the laboratory, and I extracted chlorophyll from some plants and samples I had collected from algae in Hyde Park at home. Now, I wanted to explore this idea of perfection in nature because photosynthesis is a 100% efficient process. So I next took an appointment at the painting surface workshop, and by this time the chlorophyll I had ordered from Amazon had arrived, which was a really beautiful green color. And what I wanted to see is that what happens if you just let chlorophyll naturally soak into some material like, say, a resin. And I set up an experiment with 5 different blocks of resin, and I put different quantities. So I systematically varied the quantity of chlorophyll that I put in each of them. And the result was really exciting because it created these little dendrites and it started spreading everywhere. And it made me think that what is it that makes transportation 100% efficient? So that was a very, very good outcome. And my samples look like this. The next thing I wanted to do was I had read up some more experiments, and I decided that I want to see what speeds up photosynthesis and what slows it down. So once again, I got some pondweed from Hyde Park, and I went to the Grow Lab. So now I want to create an experiment to see what slows and what speeds up photosynthesis. So I've collected pondweed, and I'm going to do this sample next week. In the meantime, I was thinking also about how I can talk about the connectivity aspect. And I decided to make a small film for which I've written the script, but I have to sort of think of the visualization and create the film. So that's going to be my artwork number 2. I then did some painting using glow-in-the-dark paints. And the idea of using glow-in-the-dark paints is to make a part of my installation in the dark and a part of it in light. So in the dark, there is no photosynthesis, but I want to show the glow and the after effects. Whereas in the light, I want to talk about the process that takes over, where the plant manufactures food and releases oxygen, creating a circular economy. And yeah, that's so interesting. So in effect, it's all coming together. I'm doing little micro experiments, which at the moment seem all very disjointed, but I'm trying out a ton of new things, new mediums, new ideas. And really, I want to tie them all together to create 3 main streams of thought. The first is the efficiency of photosynthesis. The second is how, in its act of survival, it is connected to the whole universe and affects the whole universe, including us. And the third is the relationship of plants to human beings and how we affect plants and how plants affect us, and specifically the relationship between hemoglobin and chlorophyll. Thank you.